Okay, we're sposing now. We're sposing like it's like a radio show. See, this is Crystal Cox, and I'm the unhinged blogger. But right now just picture this, okay? I'm dressed in a very beautiful dress. See, this is my very beautiful dress sort of voice. And I cough a lot because I still have a cold. And that's not very entertaining. Okay, I'm in a dress. I have longer hair. I have makeup on. And my breasts are in the exact right place with the right perfect amount of cleavage, see? Are you picturing it? All right. Well, now, I am a journalist with a deep voice because I have a cold, dressed as a girl. Oh no. All right. So, if I'm dressed a certain way, then you're going to accept what I have to say more. All right. So, if I capitalize in the right places and use the right grammar, then the truth's more acceptable and I'm more media. If I look the way you need me to look and I totally conform, well, then you might take me a little more seriously, right? Okay, so, Miss Cox. That's my name. Don't wear it out. Oh, sorry. I got out of character there for a minute. Miss Cox, you expect to change the system acting like you're acting? Yes, I have on my my dress, and I have on my makeup, and my breastises are just so. And my hair is just so, and I have taken some of these here journalist classes, and I work me for one of these big accredited companies, and so I expect you to take what I have to say as the truth. If it's not the truth, well, you can stick the truth, sir. Well, Miss Cox, you cannot, well, okay, move along in with the other sheep, and you can just be a journalist. Okay, then move along. Okay. But when I dress and look like I really look, it's more like this. Let's see. Well, Miss Cox, you cannot fix the system by acting like that, and where all of your capitals and your grammar is just out of control. You're unhinged, you're out of your mind. You do too many different things online and we can't keep track of you because this service collides with that service and everything's all out of control. Miss Cox, you cannot change the system the way you're trying to do it. The only way that you're going to change the system is by getting in the system and rooting around and playing by the rules of the system, you see. That's how you got to do it. Now, in order to change the system, you have to look like everybody else in this here system. You have got to get the credentials from the credited places and all of the right establishments for us to call you the news. See, the news was never meant to be what was actually happening. The news was always meant to be another form of entertainment, except for big corporations and politicians could pay us to advertise and, tell something. And the news just wasn't meant to be that way. And this here new wire service called the Internet's got things all screwed up. But the laws are the same. The laws of society. To change society, you have got to look like a journalist and act like a journalist. And you bloggers all sitting around in your pajamas. And some of you women bloggers, you don't even wear your bra when you're posting the news. And then what happens? You're sitting there eating your food, you got food all over you, some of you don't even bathe for days, and you're sitting there and you call that news, and you call yourself a journalist. You must look like all the other journalists. You must sit at a desk, and you must be all in, you must use gas, and you must get retirement that the government is going to steal. We can't have these bloggers all running amok. Okay, well, I'm just going to post what I think is the news to the best of my ability. And then what happens when, Miss Cox, you've just been sued. You've just been sued by one of the major players. And see, here's how the deal works, Miss Cox. There are hundreds and hundreds of laws that apply to you, Miss Cox. So you're in luck. Oops. I see that you did not claim that these laws were in relevancy to your relevant case and your relevancy in the right sort of a time and procedure and properness. See, Miss Cox, the truth is no defense around here. What are you crazy kids thinking? The truth is a but all these laws are here, and they should apply to me because I have all this information. I'm going to show you the truth. Ha, Miss Cox. You forgot. In the first 30 days and 20 minutes and 9 seconds, you were supposed to say, Ollie free. You forgot to say, Ollie free within 60 days. Therefore, the law no longer applies to you. Yeah, we know you did a better job than that attorney. You know, he's kind of a, well, you know, he's not all there upstairs. But see, Miss Cox, you have to follow the rules of procedure. You have to take a right and a left. And then you have to pull on your right ear. And then you have to touch your left knee. And then you have to apply the law. Otherwise, Miss Cox, that law does not apply to you because you did not state it in the proper order and then label yourself as a journalist and then say, Ollie free, and then jump 2 steps and wear a red skirt. Say, that's how it works around here. Because in the justice system that we call the justice system, what we like to do is we like to provide loopholes. And every year, Miss Cox, we lobby and we do this and that and there here, and we take money this and that and here, and we create more loopholes and loopholes and loopholes. So people like you is out there trying to pretend like you got the news with the documents and the photos, and you're out there videotaping the police doing bad things, and you're videotaping meetings, and oh my goodness, you citizen journalists are making us mad. And we have got to establish more rules so that you guys cannot just say, hey, all the laws that apply to all you other guys that are telling the news that isn't religion news, well, that really applies to me too, right? No! You damn citizen journalists and your cameras, you're getting every word they're really saying. You're getting the truth. You're posting documents. You're posting all these videos of all these people that were involved, and you got the cops on video, and you got the attorneys at meetings. We cannot have y'all willy-nilly posting the truth because the news was never meant to be like that, see? How, Miss Cox, you need to understand this, okay? Here's how it works. Now, something goes on for 3 years, for example, Miss Cox. Okay, and you got all these meetings and all these things going on. And then, well, see, what we like to do is we like to take a meeting and we like to take it a bit by bit. Well, what do you mean? Well, I like to look at the meetings, Miss Cox, and see where the guy says all this proof and all this yammering. And he's got all this information on where he got all this story, and he's got these videos and all this proof. Well, see, we like to pull out the part that says, Your Honor, I lied. Or, she stepped in a mud hole. See, she's really kind of describing a whole hour and a half worth of this elaborate scene where the cops were involved and the judge is involved and the prosecutor and the Department of Justice. There's all these things going on and accusing all this whitewashing, had all these documents of proof of whitewashing and all these videos and all this information. Well, see, what we do, how we call the news, Miss Cox, is, see, we make all that irrelevant, especially when you're a blogger and not, the real media. And then we like to take a piece of that news, kind of, because that's what we call it, Miss Cox, is the news. We take a piece of that out, and we call it the news, because we can't be having a whole story, because then people can think for themselves, and they can see it actually happening. See, we can't be the puppeteers of the news unless we take partial quotes. See, we got to take partial quotes. Pieces of videos. We got to take part of what someone says. And I'm sorry to tell you this, Miss Cox, but I'm sure you know this by now with your $2.5 million judgment and all. The truth is absolutely irrelevant. You are not allowed to use the truth as a defense, Miss Cox. And again, I stress the fact that the laws just do not apply to you, Miss Cox. They would have. If you'd have got an attorney in the first 60 days, they'd have probably applied to you. But, see, here's the thing. That anti-SLAPP law, you got to prove that in the 60 days. And, well, let's see. What other laws did you want to apply to you? Oh, retraction laws? No. I know that you collect information, you do have editing capabilities. I know you run a wire service, because the internet's kind of a wire service. I know that in order to defame somebody, you have to actually have some sort of communication to the public. But see, we can't have you bloggers all thinking you're media, because, see, here's the deal, Miss Cox. Okay, I'm going to confess to you, because you got me a few shots of Patron here, so I'm going to tell you a little secret, Miss Cox. Well, don't tell nobody now. We got these things called the handlers, see? They're called the handlers, and the media's got the handlers. And see, we got the boss, we got the CEO, we got the shareholders, we got all these people And we got the harassers and, of course, all the secret people. I won't tell you about those right now. But what's the most important thing, Miss Cox, is we have the handlers. So when we're media, real media, say somebody like Mr. Kevin Patrick, if he had an issue with you and you worked for us, Miss Cox, and you was a real journalist, see, what would happen was we'd have our handlers, they'd handle the situation, and they would kind of mediate, kind of sometimes in the men's room, but most of the time in the back alley, and it's always kind of, in the dark, because we don't want anybody to see what's going on. But see, what these handlers do is, of course they handle the situation, but see, they know who to pay and how to pay and what kind of advertisers, and they know how they want the news to be, and it's all based on this system called, what do you say, free America and free news and free speech, and, it's Constitution and all, Miss Cox. Really? The Constitution? Does the Constitution talk about the handlers? No, Miss Cox. I'm not talking about your Constitution of you, by the people, for the people. Very, very funny. I'm sure you read the quotes out there that say, if the people really knew about the financial system, well, they'd all revolt. Now, here's the deal, Miss Cox. We can't have you bloggers exposing the financial system. People like Obsidian Finance Group, trustees like Kevin Patrick, the bankruptcy system, the Department of Justice, we got a fine business here going, see? And the only thing that can jeopardize our way of life is them damn bloggers. Last thing we need is them bloggers thinking they're journalists. So see, Miss Cox, we're real happy here. I represent big media in every way, Miss Cox, and we're real happy about what's happened to you. I'm real sorry that, you had to be the collateral damage in this war, but you know what, Miss Cox? I'd like to say I care, but I don't care, see, because we need to shut up these citizen journalists, and apparently $2.5 million to someone who doesn't have it, and, apparently we've managed to do this, and so basically, bloggers are not journalists. I hate to say it, but, neener. Excuse me, but are you sure that's how it works? Because I think that if you go to court and you have the truth, shouldn't the truth matter? I mean, shouldn't you be able to show the court the... Ms. Cox, try and listen to me, okay? Again, I advise you next time you go to court, in the first 20 minutes, you need to say all the yellow outs and free, and that's about all I got to say, Miss Cox. I suggest you go get yourself accredited, and then you can lie, cheat, and steal, and you can make more money at it. Miss Cox, I suggest you take some journalism classes, because you do not have no standards of professionalism. And if you take some journalist classes, maybe you'd know where to capitalize letters, and maybe you'd know, heck with this getting on top of the search engines. Who cares about the search engines? What the heck is a search engine anyway? I control the search engines in my world. This is how it works, see? All right, well, I don't believe I'll be getting accredited anytime soon, but I appreciate your time there, Mr. What's your name? Oh, Miss Cox. My name is absolutely irrelevant. I've stated this as a reality. I just have to state this, and it's just the truth. You can provide a whole dump load truck of documents, and, it's totally irrelevant. Anyway, good day to you, Miss Cox. It's been a pleasure suppressing the freedom of speech, and it's been a pleasure taking the First Amendment rights away from bloggers, because I can't stand them bloggers sit around in their pajamas all day. See you later, Miss Cox.